Sir Blöthar the Berserker, welcome to the Disc Dive with Ryan J. Downey, who is me, presented by our friends at Knotfest.
Yes.
Are you ready to take a dive into your discography?
I am holding my nose. Let's go.
So we got to start all the way back with the debut full length from GWAR, which was, of course, appropriately titled Hell O. And this was also, coincidentally, for those of us interested in such details, my first discovery of GWAR was around this era. My buddy Matt Reese, who lived a couple blocks away from me, who was one of the, four other metalheads at my lunch table, he got a hold of the record on vinyl, a format that we thought was once dead and is now returned. And we went to go see GWAR touring that record at the Howard Johnson's Hotel in Indianapolis, Indiana, in a ballroom. And it was
glamorous,
magical.
Yes.
Magical.
The old Hojo's Hotel ballroom.
The old Hojo's ballroom.
I remember that. I believe that show was put on by Stinky Levine.
Yes.
As we called him. Yeah. Bill Levine. Yeah.
Yes. Famed local Indianapolis producer who producer, promoter, manager,
producer of weird publicity photographs in a junkyard.
Yes. There was one point where he was running a venue a few years, the Arlington Theater, which was called the Ritz Theater after that, and local bands would have to audition to open shows. And my local band, when I was 15, auditioned for Bill Levin, which was weird because it was just him. In this 1,500 seat theater on this 8-foot tall stage, and there's just one middle-aged guy sitting out there watching your band.
Yeah. And that middle-aged guy is Bill Levin.
Exactly. So what can you recall about the creation and making of Hello? And, perhaps you've been told some tales from Beefcake the Mighty. Maybe Beefcake the Mighty relayed some of this to you, since, of course, we're not there.
We're practically the same person, so I can answer.
We have a lot in common.
We do. We were originally the same person, but we separated through the process of cellular mitosis. So I can speak for Beefcake. Yeah, it was. I mean, he was a young lad, still in high school, having just graduated. It was the summertime in New York City, back in the good old days when, Times Square was just one big cesspool of Chuck E. Cheese porn places. I mean, that's what I call them anyway. A porn place where you have to buy gigantic wooden nickel tokens. And that was before Giuliani ruined the entire city. And that was also, we were working with Kramer at his, Kramer was a producer. I don't know if very many people know who he is today, but he put out Shimmy Disc Records and had worked with Ann Magnuson and Bongwater and done a bunch of stuff like that. And
he played with John Zorn at one point, right?
He did, yeah. And he also played with the Butthole Surfers for a while.
Oh, wow.
Why Kramer would play with John Zorn, I have no idea. But he had us in his loft, which was really just just a warehouse sort of loft space in the Lower East Side, and he kept the windows open and the cars were honking, and we tracked in this space, and it was a 16-track recorder, and it sounds like it sounds absolutely terrible. It has its own charm, there's no question about that, but mainly he just smoked prodigious amounts of weed, we, of course, were experimenting with crack cocaine during this period. We like to call it our crack cocaine period, which is actually still going on. We're still in that period.
Yeah. It's like, Miles Davis, I think, had his blue period. Is that right?
Yeah.
GWAR's
right.
crack period.
Yeah,
Similar.
Yeah. Iggy's heroin period. Yeah. Still going on. So anyway, it was fun. I mean, there were a lot of songs that had been the original GWAR set that had never really been recorded with this group of musicians, and that was exciting. And it was a fun time. What I remember most about the record is that when it was finished, we got it back and it was all pressed, and we were like, man, we're going to play this for all of our friends. And so we go over to my friend's house. We're all sitting down listening to the record. I put it on, and everybody just kind of looks around and goes, that's terrible. This is really terrible. I remember being just so crushed by that. What do you mean it's terrible? And then I was like, all right, it's terrible.
And and at that point, that was back when getting a CD was a novelty, right? Because that originally was just LP and cassette.
Yeah, I think it was vinyl that I went over to my buddy's house and played for. It's such a long, knowing what I know now, that people are like, we do these albums and they're like, oh yeah, you don't want to put more than 13 minutes on a side. God knows how long that record is. It's like a library record. There's no wonder it sounds like crap.
Yeah, it's like 16 songs.
We're gonna make this thing like a CD.
Record.
Yeah, we were forward thinking. At the very front of those late 80s, 90s CD records that were 25 songs long.